Well, this is always my favorite time of the year. College football season getting underway. We are just over 1 week away from Navy football beginning the season next Saturday at noon against Delaware in Annapolis. And, of course, that means our friend, one of my favorites, Coach Ken Niumatalolo, back with us here on GCR. Coach, it is so good to hear your voice, my friend. Thank you for taking the time for us, as always.
Ben, how you doing, brother? Always great to talk to you.
It's great to chat with you, man. I want to start somewhere before we talk about your team, if I could. I know you don't like talking about yourself, but this is year number 15. And we just did an issue of Press Box recently, and I talked to Malcolm and I talked to Keenan, and I want to know about you, and I want to know about how you've stood the test of time. And I was thinking about it, and I want to put the same questions to you, Coach. 15 years. Not everybody lasts that long. And I know you've been in this game for longer than that. But how? How have you been able to adapt and change as the sport has changed to be sitting here 15 years later?
Glenn, I think first and foremost, it's the young men that we recruited. I feel like we recruited, the guys you just mentioned, from Keenan to Malcolm. Great young men. They're great football players that fit our culture. That was number one. And number two, just the coaches that we've had here that mentor and coach these guys, or staff. I mean, they've been great. I've tried to keep a balance. Just I think a lot too has to do, Glenn, is just my faith, and that I try to keep things in perspective. I come to work early because I know this is a brutal game, and so you have to be prepared. So I start the mornings early, but I try to get our coaches to go home at night to be with your families. The month of July, we take off to go recharge our batteries. I think just some of that it's because this game can be really consuming, and you can be here 7 days a week, and 22 hours a day and not go home. And, you hear of guys sleeping at the office. But you're human. I don't know if you can sustain that and give everything that you got. I always tell our coaches, once the season starts, from now until December and January, it's a sprint. It's not a jog. And so you have to be ready to go. And so I want our guys to be our best during meetings and during practice. And I think that's been a big part of it. I don't work on Sundays, so to speak. I might watch tape at home, but I go to church, I recharge my batteries. And I think that this seems like year one. I want to win just as bad. I've always been a competitive person. I hate to lose. I think some of it's innate just competitively. But I think the great people around me, the players and coaches, trying to have some balance. Sometimes like, wow, it's year 15, but it seems like year one, and I can't wait to get started.
Well, we can't wait to see it. And I appreciate the reflection there, Coach. I really do. I know a lot of coaches don't like doing that, but I appreciate that reflection, and it is remarkable. And what an incredible run it's been. And I know you start this season off the heels of what was a really emotional win to wrap up last year. I remember talking to you afterwards. Do you get a sense for what that did for the entirety of the program, for everybody involved, to the life that it gave, the energy that it gave to this program going into the year to get such an emotional win? Do you have a feel for that? Or is it, we just don't think about it. It's completely blocked out. It's almost like it never happened.
The hard part about it, Glenn, was I knew we were getting better. But you play 2 top 5 teams and you play 4 top 25 teams, your margin of error is so slim.
Right.
And maybe years past when maybe the caliber of team you're playing isn't as great that you can get away with that, and maybe you have 3 more wins, But I look at the Houston game, we gave up a punt return, And we were up 17-7 at halftime, but we don't give out that punt. We're up 17-0. We're up 21-7 versus SMU. And give up a kickoff return. We're driving against Cincinnati at the end of the half to maybe go up 17-10
right.
or maybe go
13.
Right. At the worst, 13-10. They block a field goal and they go up 13-10. So, I knew we played well against some people, but it wasn't good enough. But I was like, man, if we can just turn the corner. But beating Army like we did, it just reaffirmed what I thought. I said, you know what, we're not far off. But sometimes, in football it doesn't matter. This isn't, it's not horseshoes or anything. If it's close, you're still trying to win. And so they're just reaffirmed, like, we're not far off. We have a lot of young guys that played a lot last year. This time last year, we didn't even know who our quarterback was. We were kind of going back and forth in Xavier and Ty hadn't played in a while. He started, but it's totally different now. He's gotten the majority of the reps. He knows our offense. And so, we're more experienced at a lot of positions of new guys at a lot of spots. And so you just feel better where we're at. But we're definitely not taking Delaware lightly. I mean, they are a good football program year in and year out.
Ken Niumatalolo, Navy football coach, with us here on GCR. Coach, you bring up Ty, and he was the one that I was wondering specifically what that might have done for him, right? Because I can only imagine the confidence that it gives you to go through something like that. What have you noticed in him coming off of that, and how he's grown and solidified himself as a leader coming into this season?
The confidence is definitely there. Because like you said, Glenn, if you can operate in the Army-Navy game, to me that's always been the litmus test. I mean, I've seen some of our great quarterbacks play tight in that game, and you play a little nervous. He was clear-minded, knew exactly what was going on, had a low blood pressure during that game, and I was just like, wow, if you can play in that game with a clear mind, with your wits about you, I mean, you can play. I mean, there's no game with more pressure than that game. And so I think it gave him great confidence into the offseason. He's worked really hard on some of the things that he needs to work on. But just really pleased with, his progression since that game until now, until August.
I feel like from the outside, Coach, the question is the what you lost with the backs and the receivers, the skill position players elsewhere in offense. Internally, where are you guys as far as, like, hey, we are incredibly confident that these are the guys, versus maybe there's still competition in some of those areas? Where is it as much of a question mark for you guys, or do you guys have that more straightened path and an understanding of what the backs and what the receivers might look like this year?
Yeah, from an experience standpoint, we, at our skill position, we may not have the experience that we've had maybe in the past. But we're probably more athletic this is probably the most athletic offensive skill group, in B-backs and slot backs and wide receivers that we've ever had from top to bottom. And so I'm super excited about our speed at fullback, at slot back. Got some guys that wide receiver can run. So experience-wise, there's things that, will come with playing. But from a talent standpoint, Glenn, I don't know if we've ever been this skilled and this athletic at our skill positions.
It's a dangerous combination. That's a dangerous, I like the sounds of it, Coach. I like the sounds of that a lot. On the defensive side of the ball, obviously, and we're hoping that things might work out, that Diego could still end up in Baltimore. I'm bummed out about that, a big deal. But more than anything, the leadership, right? He's a hell of a football player, and we know what kind of leader he was. Who's stepping up right now to you to take on some of those leadership responsibilities on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, our defensive team captain, voted on by his teammates, was John Marshall.
Okay.
And I've been really impressed with him. I feel like he's had a really good spring practice, a really good off season where he led by example, was a vocal leader, come back in camp, has done a great job at camp. So I've been pleased with him there. So I've just been really excited the way he's played. Again, we got a lot of young guys, maybe not known to Navy fans, but as far as talent-wise, again, our linebacking core is as talented, 1 to 4 that we've ever had. We got some guys on the edge that we feel good about. Secondary-wise, we got some unproven guys, but really like who we got back there. And so, as John, I think, alluded to in one of his articles, we're kind of a no-name defense, which our kids are okay with, because, you lose the big name of Diego and Mikey McMorris. But we like our pieces coming back, and these guys have a chance to make their own name and to carve out their own niche.
So, you mentioned something a second ago, and it struck with me, Coach, that you were going through the games that were close a year ago. And what I realize is Well, yeah, maybe like Desmond Ritter might be gone. The league isn't getting easier. Like I still look at the schedule every year and I'm like, holy crap, man. It is really a murderer's row. How do you close the gap? What is the difference knowing the league is not going to be coming back to you this season?
I kind of feel like, again, Glenn, I feel like you throw out the COVID year. You know what I mean? I just feel like, I mean, nobody. I mean, you're trying to get ready on a week's practice. You know,
Of course.
2 weeks your team in isolate. So I throw that year out. Last year we still had some restrictions, like if somebody was traced, and 6 guys now would have to sit out for a little bit, and they come back after a week. So you're still kind of dealing with some of that. We're a developmental team. We need everything. We have to lift. We have to run. And so this past year, I feel like this year in 2022, from January until now, we've done everything that we've done in the 12 of the years I've been head coach. So that's what it gives me peace. We've run on the hill. We've pushed sleds. And, the workouts have been grueling in off season. Guys are throwing up because of the heat. We didn't have any of that. People weren't throwing up in off season, just because, again, what was going on in the world. And so I feel like we'll see. I'm excited to see what this year has, being that I've been able to prepare our team. We've been able to prepare our team like I've done 12 other seasons, excluding the last 2 years, which, you're kind of trying to jimmy rig things, where this year there's been none of that. From A to Z, everything we've done, every line we've touched. So I'm excited to see where we fall. We come back to the Navy football team that doesn't beat themselves, that possesses the ball, that rushes the football, that doesn't give up big plays, and doesn't have penalties. I feel like we're going to be there. Just everything that I've seen to this point leads me to believe that it's going to be like years past when we've had our successful teams. And so, and with all of that said, like I said, there's 4 games last year I feel like we could have won against top caliber teams, but we didn't get it done. But I feel like this year, because of, like you said, starting off the Army game, we've had our 8 months of full preparation. I like our chances. I like what I see.
By the way, I really appreciate that. It's like you're allowed to be Navy football again. That finally, after everything, after all of this, you're able to have Navy football again. And I'm never going to be the type to count a Ken Niumatalolo team out. You know how I feel about you and everything that you're capable of. It all starts a week from Saturday against Delaware. I guess, Coach, you mentioned them earlier. A lot of people would write off Delaware and would say, okay, it's a nice, easy game to get the season going. Tell me why it is that Delaware is maybe more of a threat and someone you guys can't take lightly.
Well, year in and year out, they're always one of the best, FCS teams. We played them a few times over the years, and you watch them run out the field, and they're going to be bigger than us. They're going to be faster than us. If you're looking at the teams, you would think that, maybe they were the FBS team and we were the FCS team, because they're going to be bigger than us. They're always well coached. They're tough. They got good players, and so I feel like last year, they kind of last year was kind of a weird season for them. Their coach got fired. They basically had 2 seasons, so to speak, and so I think there's some transition there. But what I've seen on tape, I mean, I couldn't be more impressed. I mean, they got some talented kids. The coach coming from Sam Houston State as OC, I mean, knows what he's doing, got a great defensive coordinator. And so we're going to have our hands full. I'm looking at it like, geez, do we have to open up with Delaware? It's going to be a great challenge for us. And I've always told our guys this, and it's part of it, we have to be on edge, have to have a chip on our shoulder like we can beat everybody. But we also have to be on edge, Glenn, that anybody can beat us. I feel like we can go in and we have a chance against anybody, but also anybody can beat us. That's who we are. We have to play perfect. We have to take care of the ball. We have to be attention to detail, do your job. But if we do that, which, like I said, I feel like we've done to this point, I like our chances this year, but Delaware is definitely going to be a tough game.
It's Delaware week 1, Memphis following up both games at home, both great opportunities for you to get down to Annapolis and see the Midshipmen to start the season. Coach, I'm so glad that Navy football is back. We will be in touch. Can't wait to meet more of your guys as the season goes on as well. Thank you, as always, my friend, for taking the time. Let's talk again real soon, all right?
All right, Glenn. Always great to talk to my brother. Take care.